So in this video, I want to go through an SMMA onboarding checklist. I essentially want to give you everything that you need to implement into your onboarding process for your agency. What's an onboarding process? Well, it's what you send over to a client once you sign them on board, right? We always talk about how to get clients, how to sell clients, but there's a transitional period between, you on the sales call with a prospect, and then once you've sold them, they pay the invoice. And then it's like, from that point onwards, how do you actually start running ads? What's in that gap? Well, a big part of that is the onboarding process. And as I say, in this video, I want to give you an entire checklist. And the reason I'm doing this now is because I am actually going through a complete reboot of my personal onboarding process for Bax Consulting. It's one of those things that you're able to build, and because it's a system, you can essentially build it and you can kind of forget about it. And I did that for the longest time, and just recently I've looked back on my current onboarding process and kind of cringed at how bad it truly is. So I've basically gone through a whole rebuild, and for any of you in the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program, I'm going to be giving you guys the entire plug and play onboarding funnel that I'm going to be building out soon for my agency. It's going live very, very soon, and as I say, as soon as it goes live, I'm going to be giving you guys the entire plug and play funnel. But in this video, I want to give you a checklist in terms of the things that I've incorporated into that onboarding process, so that you guys can make sure that you cover all bases, and you can also ensure that the client, there's something called a buyer's remorse, and a big part of that is in the onboarding process, and you want to get that down packed. And that's going to be another concept that I'm going to discuss in this video as well. Now, just before I jump into this video, I want to just quickly mention that the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program is currently on sale. I never run sales on this program, as you guys I'm sure already know, and the reason being is because full price $497, it is already severely underpriced. People join that program and routinely sign 2K clients, 3K clients, 5K clients, 7K clients, etc. from a $497 program. Like, realistically, I should be charging $1 to $2K for it, but it's $497. However, over the Black Friday weekend, I had a surge in requests for a discount for the program, and as I say, due to high demand, I did deliver on it. Currently running a 20% discount on the program, and as I say, right now is the cheapest you'll ever be able to join the program. On Wednesday, the 2nd of December, the program goes back to full price, and you will never be able to join the program for the price that it is currently at, which is $397, 20% off. And I'm not saying that as a scarcity tactic or whatever. I'm just being very genuine with you guys. Like, it's fine to wait a couple weeks and pay full price, or you can join now for the cheapest you'll ever be able to enroll into the program for. And as I say, it truly is the leading e-commerce social media marketing agency program on earth right now, and it, just the results that students get are absolutely amazing. And that's really why I've built the program, is to be as results driven as possible and essentially churn out 6-figure agency owners. That's the primary goal, but also multiple 6-figure agency owners as well. And it definitely does that. Highest student right now is at around this month, the highest student this month is going to pull in $45,000 from his agency from a $497 program. So as I say, realistically, I could be charging $1 to $2K for the program, but I don't. I charge $497 full price. However, as I mentioned, right now 20% off, and as I say, it's the cheapest you're ever going to be able to enroll. However, that goes back to full price Wednesday, 2nd of December. So look, I don't want to hold you any longer. Let's jump straight into this video. The number one thing, okay, as I kind of touched on in the intro, is buyer's remorse. Okay, now this is kind of this plays out in anything. It's not just an agency, it's not just a business or anything like that. It's just anything that you ever buy. Sometimes if that product doesn't deliver on kind of what perspective that you had on that product, if it doesn't deliver on that, the perceived value really does just outweigh the real value of the product, whatever that may be, you're going to experience buyer's remorse, and you do not want that with your agency. Okay, you do not want that. And so really the first point of contact that a client has with your agency when you sign them on board is that onboarding process. So you want to really remember throughout all the steps that you do, you want to make sure that that buyer's remorse is eliminated. They have no buyer's remorse whatsoever. They're super excited. And the way that you do that is by, coming across, you should do videos for your onboarding, and you want to just come across as very, very confident, and you want to just really drill home the fact that they have made the right decision. Now, a couple actionable things that you can do for that is really just back up what you're saying, right? If you can back up what you're saying in terms of show results, show that this works, like they're going to feel really, really happy with their purchase. And that is what you want, because obviously you want your client to feel as though they've made the right decision, which they have, but you want them to feel that way as well. And also it's going to decrease your return, refund rates, etc. And then obviously once it does get to the point of you actually running the ads, that's when your results take over, and that's when you really kind of drill home the point for them that they have made the right decision. So essentially that's really one main key that you want to be thinking about throughout the entire onboarding process. And you can really drill that point home, as I say, in the very first video of your onboarding process. You can kind of go through, make sure that you kind of reaffirm the fact that they have made the right decision, you back it up with case studies, and then from that point onwards you can then kind of transition into the second kind of aspect of that first video. There's usually always a 20 to 40 minute video, the first video of the onboarding process, because that's the beef of it. You explain the process, you kind of walk them through it, what they can expect from the onboarding process itself. You want to, as I say, eliminate any possible buyer's remorse that they may have. You want to eliminate all of that by reaffirming that they've made the right decision. You can back it up with case studies, etc. And then from there, once you've done that, you can transition into setting the expectations for how the partnership is going to go moving forward. At that stage, I kind of cover, or ensure that I cover, three things, okay? First things first is to under promise, okay? There's a fine line between ensuring that they've made the right decision, eliminating that buyer's remorse, but also under promising. You don't want to go out straight out the gate and say, look, we're going to get you a 10 ROAS. We're going to get you a 15 ROAS at 5,000 a day spent. It's probably not going to happen, right? So you don't want to over promise like that. You want to under promise and over deliver. So at this point, you've not delivered on anything yet, because this is the first point of contact that they have. It's literally within 24 hours of them saying yes to you on the sales call. You're not going to have your ads up, so you're not going to be able to deliver just yet, but you want to make sure that you under promise. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Well, in that initial video where as I say, you now want to transition into setting expectations. One of the expectations you need to set is kind of like, what's the results going to be like? What's the time frame on getting those results? Am I going to have to wait 5 months, or is it going to be, this week we're going to be able to see amazing results? Well, you don't want to say 5 months, because that's just not realistic and they're going to experience buyer's remorse. But you also don't want to say that they're going to get the best results possible literally in 3 days of launching or whatever. You want to just kind of walk them through the process that you yourself and your team goes through in order to get results. Not technical in any way, just go more of a month to month view and say like, look, first month, this is kind of how we go about things. This is what we do. This is what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to see what combinations work best, see what resonates most with your audience, this, that. Then month 2, we're going to really figure out and we're going to know what works best because of month 1. And this is when we can start to scale up. This is, month 2, month 3 is where we can start to really push on those best performers and start to really ramp up that spend. And then testing is going to become a lot more efficient because we're getting a lot more data, at a higher rate, all that type of stuff. You want to explain that to the client so that they're not expecting results in week 1, but they also know that, okay, there's a process to it, and, I don't have to wait 6 months before I see a return or anything like that. Like, I'm going to see a return, but it's just not going to be in week 1, right? That's kind of what you want to get across. However, in reality, to be honest, I mean, it's not always, in the first week or whatever, but usually we see results like week 1 to, I would say, week 1 and week 2, we see results. Like, they may not be the best possible results. Like, for example, clients that have been with Bax Consulting for like 18 months, right? 12, 18 months, etc. Like, we're experiencing the best results we've ever experienced with them because we know their market so well, right? So there is an aspect of that. Like, the longer a client stays with you, the more you understand, which means the better results you can deliver for them. But as I mentioned, like, there's still, you still are able to see results in that first 1 to 2 weeks, right? Whether it's, maybe it's only a 3-4 ROAS, it's still a good return. And if the client was expecting maybe like a 2 ROAS because you've kind of said that to them, then you've over delivered, right? You've under promised, you've over delivered. And that's what you want, because that's how client satisfaction shoots through the roof. And obviously, consequently, client retention really shoots through the roof as well. And you get like an average client retention of like 12, 18 months. And that is the pinnacle. That is the epitome of running an agency. That's exactly what you want. And as I say, it may sound kind of extravagant and kind of ridiculous, but to be honest, client retention starts from the first email you send, but truly once they become a client, right? It starts from this onboarding process, and it's why it's so vital to get down packed. And again, as I say, it's why I give my entire onboard, or this new onboarding process that I'm building, it's absolutely killer. And by the way, I'm following these checklists. That's where I'm pulling these points from. It's from my current onboarding that I'm building out. But as I say, it's why I'm giving it to the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency students, because it's so important that you get it down packed. So that's the first thing that you need to set expectations on. It's that time frame of delivering results, and that's where you want to under promise, over deliver. Now, everything else you can be very, very strict on. Next thing is, communication. You need to be very, very strict on that. Wherever your communication is held, I know a lot of different agencies operate in a different way. Personally, how we operate, how I teach as well, is through Slack, just because there's so many things you can do with Slack, and I personally think it's the absolute best. And especially once you get to the higher level of running an agency, you can integrate it with a bunch of things, especially Zapier, which is super, super powerful. So yeah, I keep communication inside of Slack, and in there, I set my expectations very, very clearly. Any communication outside of Slack that the client has, whether they try and message me on Messenger, Instagram, email, my phone number, they don't have it, but you get the point. I tell them it will be ignored, and I give them a reason behind it. And as I say, I give them the reason behind it, and they actually respect that. So don't feel as though you're being rude or you're being too strict or anything like that by setting strong expectations. Clients will actually respect it. The other thing is reporting. Okay, that's another super powerful thing that you need to set expectations on. Let them know how they can get up-to-date reports on their ads, how it's performing, stuff like that. Tell them kind of how that's structured. And obviously with communication as well, you've got your bi-weekly calls. You want to, again, tell them about how that's structured and how that's set up and what you cover on those calls. Reporting is one thing that obviously you want to break down on those calls as well. So, you just want to kind of how you run, how you operate, how you manage clients. You want to kind of just set those expectations in this section. And something else that's really powerful and important for you to set expectations on as well, what's needed from their end. What can they do on their end that's going to make getting results even better? Getting results not easier, but just making those results as best as they possibly can be. One of the main things that they can do on their end is to routinely be able to provide you with creatives and really just make sure that you're always full of creatives, because at the end of the day, running Facebook ads at the highest level and any, YouTube ads, anything like that, creatives is where it's at, right? There's no secret, for the most part, there's no secrets in scaling or testing or this and that. It's creatives and ad copy. But obviously your agency, yourself and your agency is in charge of the copywriting side of it, but the creatives, that's pulled from the client's end. So let them know that, that's the main thing that's needed from them. Now, the final thing that I personally like to detail in the setting expectations section of that first video, bear in mind, all of this is in that first video, and that is detailing kind of how you can make this partnership that with your agency and their business, how that partnership can be as prosperous as possible. Okay, obviously there's a couple of things that you want to ensure that they are doing on their end, and there's a couple of things that you ought to do on your end, obviously, to make it as prosperous as possible. And you want to mention that as well in this setting expectations section, right? That's kind of like just like the SOPs, the non-negotiables that get followed throughout the partnership. Obviously there's a lot of moving parts, but you want to really set those foundations and kind of set them as a stake in the ground, and they don't move. They are the non-negotiables, and you want to cover that in that first video. And then really that's all I cover in that initial video of the onboarding process. From there, you just want to obviously end it by saying, you really look forward to the partnership, and obviously push them to the next step of the process overall. Now, those next steps, mainly it's just getting access to their assets, getting indoctrinated into their ecosystem. And that's really namely the Facebook kind of ads manager, becoming an admin of their ecosystem, their business manager, ads manager, their pages, stuff like that. And also their Google ads account as well. If you do Google ads, if you don't worry about it. But if you do, obviously, or YouTube ads as well, you want to get indoctrinated into there. That's my second video. And then from there, I have another video, which is super important, and this is a video and a questionnaire, and that is basically an audience diagnosis. And really, this audience diagnosis fuels your foundational copywriting, analysis, and research. And obviously, if you're part of the Centurion Agency program, you guys know what I'm talking about, the foundational car. It fuels that, because at the end of the day, nobody knows the client's ideal customer more than the client. So you really want to extract as much information onto paper from the client in that section as much as possible, because as I say, that's going to really fuel that foundational copywriting, analysis, and research. You're going to be able to then conduct research into the competitors. You're going to be able to analyze the current kind of approach that they're taking with their advertising, see what's working, see what isn't. And you're also going to be able to really understand on the deepest possible level exactly who their ideal customer is. And I feel like ideal customer is a term that often gets thrown around and it's kind of lost its weight, but it's so important that you truly understand your client's ideal customer. This is why, going back to what I said at the start of the video, this is why any of our clients who have been with us for like 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, whatever it is, this is why the results we're getting them now are the best we've ever got them, because we understand the ideal customer so much. We know exactly what creatives to put in front of them that's gonna hit. We know exactly what, even going as specific as colors, right? We know what colors on creatives pop and get the best response possible, right? We know that specific, and obviously that translates over into the ad copy as well, and all that type of stuff. It's super, super important. And a lot of that is built from experience running the ads for a long period of time and whatnot. But if you can get, as I said before, if you can extract as much information from that client as possible in that initial onboarding process, it's gonna make that first iteration a lot more successful. As I kind of explained in a previous video, you're essentially gonna be able to a trampoline jump a whole bunch of iterations for that first iteration, because you kind of already know what's going to work and what isn't, right? That's the whole idea of that audience questionnaire, and it's super, super important. And then kind of as a subsection of that audience questionnaire, in that same step of the onboarding process, you want to get access to any and all softwares that's further going to help you. Things like Shopify, ClickFunnels, Google Analytics, any sort of heat map softwares that they have on their website, stuff like that. All of those, getting access to those softwares is going to massively help you, because again, it's gonna, the foundational car, right? The research aspect of that, and the analysis, to be honest, you're gonna be able to conduct more research into conversion rates on their website, what's working, what's not, where's the fall off rate. If you can help a client take their website conversion rate from a 1 to a 2, for example, %, you're gonna double their entire business without you even touching the ads manager yet. And you can identify some blatantly obvious and super easy things that they can implement that's gonna see a noticeable increase. You wanna get those done. And so you need to get access to all of those softwares as well. And you do that within the same step as the audience, because essentially it kind of all falls under the same umbrella of, ideal customer and their customer base. And really, once you've covered those main things, all that's left is to get the client to book in their onboarding call, their strategy session, whatever it is that you wanna call it. And essentially on that onboarding call, you want to introduce them to your media buyer, and also if they've got anybody else on their end that's going to be working very closely with your agency, you want to get them on that call as well, so you can all of you can kind of put your heads together, get introduced, and discuss kind of next steps, how things look. That's another aspect of that onboarding call. You want to detail kind of the next 2 to 4 weeks for the client, just so they kind of know, because after that they know the process, they know how things work. But that initial call, they're starting this entire new partnership with somebody that they've only known for not very long. So you want to detail and really just lay out everything so they know exactly what to expect, how long it's going to take to get their ads launched, what you're going to do once their ads have launched, stuff like that. And as I said, you want to get whoever else is going to be close with the process on their end. You want to get them on that call as well, so they understand the process as well. You want to enroll them into your communication system. As I said before, we use Slack. So on those calls, I get them enrolled into Slack. I make sure that they understand how to use it and whatnot, make sure notifications are turned on. That's a big problem that we've experienced. A lot of the times when we enroll a new client, they don't have their notifications turned on, so they don't message us for like 3 days, and we need X, Y, and Z, and it prolongs the process. So we just want to make sure that they're enrolled into the communication system. They know how to navigate through everything. They know how everything works. We get our bi-weekly calls set up on that initial call as well, and then also we just kind of go through any questions, problems, queries on their end that stemmed from that onboarding process. Because obviously the last time you would have spoke to them was the sales call. You sent them over this onboarding process that we're building out, and then the next time you speak to them is on that call. So some questions, problems, queries, anything like that may have stemmed from the onboarding process. So we make sure that all of those are answered, and we've gone through all of those. They just feel comfortable, they're excited to move forward. We ensure all of that. And at that point, it's kind of time to get the ball rolling and start to actually deliver on what you've sold the client on. But for the onboarding process, that's kind of a checklist. As I say, right now I'm building a brand new killer onboarding process, and I thought I would just shoot this quick video kind of going through the main things that I'm thinking about whilst I'm building that process. And as I mentioned before, for those of you in the Quantum Agency program, I'm going to be giving you guys the entire plug and play for this new onboarding process, and I promise you your clients are going to fall in love with you. They're going to absolutely love it, and it's just going to set a really, really good kind of kickoff for, hopefully, fingers crossed, a very successful and prosperous partnership. And yeah, as I say, the key to the retention rate that you really want to have in your agency 18, 24 months, it all starts from this onboarding process. And so if this is off, they're going to just kind of have a distaste for you, and it's just not going to, you know, you're not starting off as you mean to go on, you know, and it's super important. And so that's why you want to put a lot of time into the onboarding process. Just ensure it's really, really down packed, and it's the best it possibly can be, and you're going to have no worries there. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, right now, 20% off on the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program. It truly is the leading ecom SMMA program on earth, right? Specifically for the e-commerce niche, that is. So if you're looking to get into the real estate niche, the restaurant niche or whatever, I mean, it's going to help you, but to be honest, I won't say it's going to be the best program for you. However, if you're in the ecom niche, it truly is the best program that you can buy. And right now you can buy it for the cheapest it's ever going to be, $397, 20% off. And as I say, Wednesday, 2nd of December, that sale ends and it goes back to $497. I may even honestly increase the price, to be honest, potentially, just because it is so severely valuable and it's ridiculously underpriced at $497. Anyway, as I say, right now you can join at 20% off. Wednesday, 2nd of December, it ends. You'll never be able to enroll for this price ever again. And so, yeah, as I say, super excited to hopefully see you inside of the community. And despite that, I hope you found value in this video. As always, if you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.